Anyone for public comment?
No.
Okay. There's no moment for, no comments or anyone signed up for public comment? Financial report?
Good evening, Board of Directors. I'd like to start first on page 8 with the profit and loss budget versus actual. If everybody is there, I'll start. Okay. Starting with the continue. It's okay to continue.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now. You can start. You're just starting, right?
Yeah.
So he's already talking, that's why I said,
Yeah.
start from the beginning.
Oh, well, go ahead from the beginning.
We're on page 8 with the profit and loss budget versus actual from July 2021 through February 2022. We have total revenues of $739,180.80 versus a budget of $758,862.12 for under budget unfavorable variance of $19,681.32. And that under budget variance is a combination of being under budget in penal fines of over 92,000 and actually over budget in property tax revenue of over 80,807.40 cents. The 92,000 in penal fines, we will get those revenues by the end of the fiscal year. They usually come in at the end of the fiscal year. So we should not be that much under budget in penal fine revenues. In terms of total expenses, we have $621,602.57 versus budget expenses of $770,944.19 for a under budget in expenses of $149,341.62. And our under budget in expenses is primarily due to under budget in operations of over $105,576.61, as well as under budget in capital improvements of over $14,000. The under budget in operations, much of it is due to under budget in employee expenses. We do have the director's expense salary under budget, and we're under budget in professional services as well. And we're actually under budget in janitorial services and snow removal services. And also we're under budget in library supplies. The net income for this period is $117,578.23 versus a projected budgeted net income of a net loss of $12,082.07. So that's a favorable variance of $129,660.30. So we have a positive net income primarily due to under budget in expenses versus the under budget in revenue. Any questions regarding the profit and loss budget versus actual?
Any questions?
So are we under budget with maintenance because for janitorial service, because we have reduced our services or because why are we under budget? on janitorial service?
Well, I can only estimate that that snow removal in particular, we didn't have much snow removal. I'm not familiar with the actual contract in terms of do they do it by a per removal or not, but in terms of the invoices that they have been paying to date, those have been paid and we are under budget in terms of total payments to that versus what we had budgeted for the year.
And you said this, I asked someone to show the last 2 years of payments so you can see the variation of how much you've been paid for the last 2 years. And that should answer the question about the services individually. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Chanel.
So under revenue, we have grants. Do you know if we're expecting any grant revenue to come in, or have we not really?
Well, based on the previous director had applied for grants, but to my knowledge, none of those grants have materialized.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
None, then I will continue with the balance sheet, which is your page 9. In the balance sheet, we have in our checking savings, $880,326.79. Receivables, $865. Fixed assets, $657,503.08 for total assets of $1,538,694.87. We have equity of $1,538,918.77 plus a credit in our accounts payable, and that credit balance is due to credits on our accounts, which we apply to future accounts payable, $223.90 for a balance of equity and liabilities, $1,538,694.87. Any questions regarding our balance sheet?
Any questions? Okay.
Moving on, this is the graph the treasurer report require each reporting period. And it just illustrates, first graph, our total expenses by category. And we got 90, I should say revenue, I'm sorry. We have a revenue for our property taxes, basically making up 93.94%. In the other revenues, 6.06% for our total revenues, $739,180.80. In the expenses, which is the next chart, we have our operations making up 77.47% of all our expenses. Professional services is next highest with 12.10%. Debt service, 5.13%. Collections, 4.78%. And all others, 0.52%. for our total expenses, $621, $602, and 57 cents. Any questions regarding these charts?
Any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
What debt are we servicing? This is debt service.
Yes, we finance the heating, cooling upgrades, as well as the shelving for in the library.
Correction, just the cooling, the heating is already been paid.
Pardon?
It's the cooling system.
Yeah.
Not the heating is already been paid off.
Right, it's cooling. I stand corrected. HVAC.
Yes.
How close are we to paying off the bill?
I believe it's October.
I didn't hear that last question.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
How close are we to paying off the cooling system? The HVAC system.
I would have to look at that contract. I don't have that information at hand to see the period of time that it's to be paid off.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Okay, that concludes my report.
Okay. Is there a question?
No, it's not a question.
Oh, okay.
I make a motion to approve the report as read.
In second,
Second.
discussion? No discussion? Roll call, please.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Vice Chair,
Yes.
Treasurer Hatchett.
Yes.
Trustee, what is that?
Yes.
Trustee Allen. Yes. Yes, it was approved.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Mr. Hardy, at this point, I'm sending you an email, but I think there's nothing else at this point. Thank you so much.
All right, well, thank you very much.
All right. At this point in time, I'm sorry?
No, I just said good night.
Oh, good night. And vendor contract presentation. Okay, and as I indicated to that asked about the amount of money in terms of vendors being paid or something like that.
So I was asking particularly about the maintenance.
Right.
He said no.
Okay. So, but what I did have to do initially was to, if you look on page 12 of those, you'll see the vendor reports, and you'll see from 2018 to 2021, what vendors have been paid, individual vendors. And you can see the fluctuation of cost for each one. For the total. Okay. So at this point, I believe we have Mr. Dirty. Okay. Do you have a copy of your proposal? Or your,
Yes, we do.
do you have it for us, or have you given it to us already?
It's in the
It's in the back.
And
No, I know. No, I know, because it could vary from one to the other, so. Okay, but if it gets to be prolonged, I'll kind of let you go to kind of wind it down. You ready? Mr. Ready? Oh, you're gonna introduce yourself, and then you're gonna tell us about your proposal. Go to the podium, please.
point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So we issued out our RFP for our lawn services.
No, annually, okay, what, and the board, the first board that I was on, we agreed that annually, that every vendor would give a report in March. Okay, and that's all that was supposed to be, of the annual report.
Okay, so my question is, this year, do you currently have traffic with tracker?
No,
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I clarify that. Your question.
There was no-
okay, I don't have a question, I just have some statements.
Okay,
For 4 years, Melanie, we did not do this.
Okay, I thought so.
I don't know why it didn't come up, I didn't know that we had done it, I just learned about it this year, that we were supposed to have, our vendors to make a report to us. So for 4 years, we didn't do it. And so now we're trying to get back to, doing it, and it was open to anyone, whether they were a vendor now or anyone who had wanted to make a bid on the services that we have. And so that's what we're having, today. Each person,
Okay.
each company that wants to bid on service, we have.
what's your recommendation?
So I get what you're saying, and I'm happy that people are coming in to bid, but we didn't make a formal request.
So here's what's true. So here's what's true, so the shaking of the head, all questions, but let me clarify, let me clarify. Okay, what the board did before was initially, everyone that had a contract initially and
Okay.
there was no, it's already, okay, that initially you came, and Mr. Pereira has had a contract in the past, Mr. Pope to be here, but I believe he sent a copy of it. So that's initially what I asked Edmund to do. Initially had contracts, so we can review their contracts. So as I look at this now, my request is only people that currently have contracts. So anyone that's coming now, I mean, you're here now. I mean, unless you have an objection, and I understand that it should be, if it's becoming open to anyone, you shouldn't put an RFP out for anyone. But that's not what my request was. My request was simply that everyone that has a contract with us now come, and that's what we did before, annually come in March. Okay, because all of the contracts have a fiscal year, and before their contracts were up, we initially wanted to make sure that they would come and present, and we could talk to them and ask them any questions that they may have had. Okay? Chair recognizes,
I have a problem with this because we did issue an RFP. It was not done the way that we've done on the previous board. I don't think, no disrespect to Mr. Durkee, that this is fairly partial. So I object to this because it was not done in the right manner. And to me, what it says to our other vendors who may not have been prepared for this presentation, that we have an open RFP. So I openly think that this is not done in decency and in order. And so I truly have a problem with this. I have a problem with this.
okay. Well, take it. At this point, we're gonna cut that off. Mr. Johnson.
Also, I can do that. No, that's not what Robert's rule of law, because we can't do that.
You still talking?
Yeah, you said in your earlier statements, I like to say exactly what you just said. You said unless someone objects. I just told you I am objecting to this. And I saw this young lady right here with her hand up. With your hand up, Ms. Atchison?
Well, I already talked.
Okay, but I object to this. This is not.
And I said, well, take it.
So that's what you're gonna do?
Okay?
Okay.
I'm finished. If you're finished.
Oh, no.
I'm
just gonna,
okay?
I'll write it out.
Miss,
So table this, is it the process of table the discussion until a later date?
okay, so I'm asking, are you having any more questions?
I don't have any
what I just said.
No.
Okay, no more questions.
No more questions.
At this point in time, Mr. Durden, what I ask you to do, because I too am surprised. Okay, it was, my request was for Edmund to ask people that currently have a contract in order to bring the contract. So what I would like for you to do is we will keep your information, okay? If you'd like to stay for the end of the meeting, please do so. But this time I'll ask you to yield the floor to someone else so that currently has contract. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. The chair recognizes Ms. Hackett.
Okay, then, while they're all here, we need to be clear. See, because it may not be just Mr. Jernigan. For example, Mr. Winton is a current contractor. However, there are other services that the library has and contracts out. He is interested in bidding for. Now, why is he doing it tonight? Because back in the past, and when somebody asked, I told him he had to submit a proposal in order to do that. I see Mr. Hayes here. I don't know what present contract he has with us. I know it was mentioned about the, I think the pavilion. It was some mention about, but he doesn't presently have contract with us. So, see, I want everybody to treat it the same. The young man on the end, does he presently have a contract with us?
I don't know,
Do you know?
Excuse me, Ms. Hackett. Okay, let's try to put some order to this. Okay, and what I said was, what I asked Edmund to do, okay, and I'm gonna repeat this again, is to initially everyone that has a contract, okay, and the contractors that we have, okay, Detroit Elevator, okay, I don't know why they're on here, because that's not like a contract. We got some services from them, but that's just not an ongoing contract. When I say contract, I'm talking about people that are ongoing, like with Sangster, Coast, and Foster and Swift. They have, okay, their services that we have, okay, we retain them, but they don't have a contract for 1 year to do that. And some of these people initially have contracts for 1 year to the next. Folks Security has a contract for 1 year to the next. Paul Winton has a contract. Otis Elevator does not have an ongoing contract with them. When we do services from them, when we call them, those are vendors that we call, they are not the specific services that we have a yearly contract with. Lyzoo I asked to come because Lyzoo, I was under the impression that according to what I was told, Lyzoo had a verbal contract, a service contract, okay? I know when I, on the board as chair prior, there was a service contract for them because they initially worked on the HVAC system. And one of the things that I created when they put the HVAC system in for the cooling system is they put it in October. And they said they couldn't start the system up because they had already turned on the heating system for the winter. So it would be spring before they could actually see the system work. And I wrote up a contract with them that said that when they started spring, that if there are any problems or any services that had to be rendered because of that, they would be fully responsible because they gave us a bill for almost $4,000 because there were some issues with the system. So that's why I'm saying people that have a contract from 1 year to the next are the people that we ask to come. Mr. Ferreira has a contract for lawn service from 1 year to the next, okay? And so we initially asked those people to come and present for their contract. Like I said, Millennium Business, I'm not sure, business system, I'm not sure what that is. Mr. Stuckey, he doesn't have an ongoing contract, okay? But we do call him because he had put in like the floors and different things like that. He's given us bids and things like that. So it's not a matter of they have an ongoing yearly contract that we award them every year. So other than that, I'm not sure why we have people that, the vendors that we have are vendors that have yearly contracts. So if Edmund misunderstood what I was asking him to do, then I apologize for that. For recognizing, so.
I make a motion that we take this item off of the agenda and put it down for our next meeting, which is in April. And that way this can be cleared. If we want other vendors to go out, then we'll do the posting. If we just want to deal with the vendors we have now, then we will do that. But I make a motion that this postpone until the April meeting.
I second. This is motion in second. Discussion. I have some comments. These people have come out tonight. They are currently, those that are currently vendors, okay, have come out tonight. And I just think since they're here to provide us with that information, that we should at least listen to it. Now, if we want to add the others and do an RFP, okay, and an RFP simply says that perhaps any vendors that we have, that we're not interested in their services anymore, or we want them to put up bid for another contract next month. So my concern would be that these people have taken the time who have served us, give them an opportunity to present, and then if we want to come back and then say, at this point at the end of their presentation, with all of them, we say, if you want to come back in April and present with a new contract, you can do so. But at this point in time, I just think it's just not fair to those that initially would like to, that are here to do that. Chair recognizes that.
So I guess that what I would suggest is a motion, but what I would suggest is maybe they just introduce themselves, but not present. Because presenting is like presenting a meeting. So if they like to introduce themselves, say who they are, that's fine, but I don't think we should services because it is, you know, we're excluding people that might need to also be that.
So in other words, you're saying that regardless of whether a person has a contract with us now, then we're just saying we just do an RFP for everybody. But that's what I need to say.
So that was my other thing, is I don't feel, how long are these contracts?
They're for a year.
For 1 year?
Well, the Mr. Harden contract is 2 years.
You just started
It started last year. The last fiscal year was when it been in June.
Our fiscal year starts.
Oh, excuse me, sorry, telling you.
No,
We're out of order now.
My hand is up for 10 minutes.
I didn't see it, but okay, I will let her finish, and then I will call on
If
you.
our fiscal year starts in June, so technically everyone should be reapplying for a contract.
That's why we have to come in March. Okay, because the budget, you usually have your first read in April, second read in May, and then you vote for it in June. Okay, for the budget. Okay. And so that's when we renew, unless they were being renewed based on their performance, unless someone decided that they want to do something else. And I'm going to say your time is, I'm going to address it on this.
Okay, several things. First of all, let me apologize that y'all came here under misrepresentation. Because at the end of the day, we have to do things in decency and order. Just like when we are on council, we're not allowed to put stuff on the agenda the day of. We have to discuss it, we have to vet it, and it's a disservice if we do that today. And so that's why I support that motion, because we have to set a precedent and a tone. I apologize that y'all came, really, absolutely do. But right is right and wrong is wrong. That's the first thing. Number two, it is unfair. Again, as I said last month, about the same thing about and with the computers and everything else, if the new council, if the new board does not have the timely information, then they cannot make an objective decision. We have to start informing all of us and not just going to everyone, and then we get told the day of. It is a discredit and a disservice to this board. Thank you.
I call for the question. It's a motion on the floor. I can call for the question. Okay, you got the book over there. Is there anything in there that say I can call for the question?
You can call for a question, sorry, in the discussion unless it's in a work session.
Any more discussion?
Roll call. Madam Chair. Vice Chair.
Yes.
Trustee, excuse me, Treasurer, Hatchett.
Yes.
Trustee, Webster.
Yes.
Trustee Allen. Yes, motion passed. I will. It's been tabled to next one. Thank you.
No, it's not for the table. Did you say your motion was the table?
She said her motion was the same. Her motion was to be made.
No, my motion was to remove this.
I'm sorry, remove. I apologize.
Remove this off for today and put it on the April meeting. And then that way, everybody know, like I said. Some of these people are here, they heard about, and like Mr. Jurgensen, he had to do an emergency service for us, did he not? And so he was encouraged to put in for the job. Same with Mr. Ray. Anyway, the motion is passed, so we move on. We move on. You understand emotion, right?
My apologies to each one of you about that, and the clergy was simply doing it. So at this point in time, I thank you for coming. Feel free to get you something to do, and we're going to proceed with this, okay? Because the board has decided that they want to table this, what the agenda will read differently, and and I guess it will read that everyone, it'll be a RFP for everyone that's interested in any position. Okay, as opposed to any particular group that already has a contract. Okay. My apologies.
And if you didn't eat, it's some carry out over there if you want to get them food. That's the least we can do.
I asked them if they all wanted something to eat.
I mean, they can carry with them.
Yes.
Is virtual.
I'm sorry?
There's virtual options.
Yes. For what? For the life. Oh, yes, you mean in order to present, or you mean in order to watch the video? No, it's not. It needs to be in person.
Point of clarity, I believe that a presenter or presenter does not have to physically be in person. When did that change? I don't really know that. The library. So I'm just trying to get a point of clarity. You can read the date and the actual meeting, so I can clarify it. Because I don't believe any time prior that we ever had to make a presenter be physically present. So would that be something that we could actually see? But that's not. So not really, not been on this board before. Oh, it's not, I'm sorry, I was trying to do it. I just want to know where that is. It is in it. I got hold of that today. I don't know. This is like that's I just want to know where that is written at in our bylaws or our person. I just want to know, I'm sorry, again, we're in our bylaws that says that the person has to be, but it seems as though rules and procedure is just being made up as we go along. This is all new, and I'm just a little confused and perplexed. So if I could just see that in writing, date, time, and rubber stamp, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I will get you, based on the state law that came out in, December 31st, is that a reflection just to the board members, or is that anyone that would be considered, or just people that are missing?
It's
Prior to purchase?
it's the public body, which is, anyone who presents any members.
All right. Okay. Then I stand corrected, okay, because I was the person that it was, everyone, that would be presenting, or a little Tony that would be listening. It could be public body. That would be, okay? All right. So I stand corrected, I'm human, I do make errors. Okay, thanks for that clarification. Okay? All right, unfinished business, strategic plan. Okay, I asked everyone to print out a copy of the strategic plan, for everyone regarding, arbiters, and initially have the strategic plan, that we initially had before, so that we can review it. But as I said before, we cannot all initially be in one room at the same time, unless we're gonna talk about it on the board meeting, which we can either have an earlier board meeting, extend that time to talk about it, or each person can have a section of it to look at it, and we can come back and talk about it, in a group or to do something. So that's in reference to the strategic plan. So everybody should have a copy in front of you. Question?
I do have a question. So I guess I'm a little bit confused as to how you would like to proceed with developing a new strategic plan. I'd like to point of clarification, I'd like to clarification. The process would be what to undertake to develop a strategic plan.
Initially had a subcommittee, and then Sarah wanted to go back and make sure that everybody understood what this plan looked like before. And look at what Ann Arbor had as a template, so we can kind of gauge what we can do. How we plan to move forward with our library board. And as we do that, find out whether or not find out whether or not okay, so if we decide to do it, we would have to call a special meeting. And that would be our topic that we would talk about doing that special meeting for the strategic plan. And probably meeting every time we talk about
I mean, it's on every strategic plan committee that I've been on, it's typically a separate meeting because it takes longer than an hour to develop a strategic plan.
Well, that's what I just said. I said that for us, we as a board, we would have to call a special meeting because we're required to have a meeting every month. So we would have to call a special meeting in order to do it because it would take a longer time.
Yes,
That's what I said.
okay. It sounded as if you were hesitant to do that. Based on saying let's divide it up and things like that. So I'm just trying to
I'm sorry, that's
understand.
what you said.
I'm trying to understand what exactly you would like to do.
First, I'm trying to clarify that if you want to move forward as a complete board, then you have to call a special meeting or do so, or extend a regular board meeting in order to do that. And so as we. Since we
I've been asking questions and talking. I didn't want to die.
so all of us can understand how we're gonna move forward.
I heard what you said.
Okay, so it will be up. The recommendation.
So then, we need to have a special meeting.
First, and then we can move forward in terms of how you like to continue this. Okay? Any other comments? Going to do that. Okay, then you would choose, and since it's an ongoing task that we have to do, I would think that we wouldn't randomly choose a time, but we would choose a day each month. And we would usually work on it, okay? And then come back on the first Thursday to present the findings or decisions for the planning. To the entire board. They're recognized, you know.
Would we hire a consultant or someone to walk us through the strategic plan?
I don't think we need to do that. I mean, that was one of the reasons at this particular point that I got a template, okay, of what AR is doing, because, okay, it's something that we initially had used in the past. And I thought it would be good. And I know that the board prior to one that I was on before, hired someone for $36,000 to put the strategic plan together. But I think it's only to be looking through our life and looking at how other libraries are operating, looking at, if you look at even other strategic plans for other libraries, then we need to be able to do those ourselves. Okay, if you got to a point where you can even ask as far as funding projected for funds in order to get to certain price of each plan, we can bring our accountants. Yeah, we said we can just talk about those funds, or what do we cover those that we do in terms of cost. Well, I mean, any other discussion on it? Yeah.
I think we would be remiss if we think that we could easily go through this process of creating a strategic plan without an impartial third party helping us to walk through and document what is coming out of a strategic plan. It does add value. It doesn't need to cost $36,000. Maybe not. So we could ask for quotes to see how much, it would be to hire a consultant. Some of the larger organizations, to your point, do charge a large sum, but there are other consultants that have their own businesses that they want to do.
A couple of things. Questions we got to ask is, you are an HR person, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so, when this branding, rebuilding, or what is the word I want to use? You focus group, bring people in, you oftentimes have to hire someone because sometimes we make decisions based on what we think should be the idea, but in the long longevity, so I don't have the wherewithal. That's why I go to a coach about certain areas of my life, because I know that I need to be taught how to build things the right way. And I don't feel, and I'm very competent, I don't feel comfortable doing strategic plan without having a third party doing it. And I think it leaves us open to litigation and leaves us open to people feeling like we have our own set agenda. And in the previous council, we were falsely accused of making plans and decisions based upon relationships. And so just to nip it out of the bud, I would feel more comfortable if we had a consultant so that no one can say, hey, this board is making decisions based on emotions, but they're making decisions on the best data. So I don't feel comfortable making a strategic plan. And that's just how I feel. And for me to say that, that's a lot, because I feel comfortable almost in that. I don't feel comfortable.
The chair recognizes President.
I would agree with Secretary Rutherford, particularly if we are going to have members of the community, which I highly recommend be part of any strategic planning sessions that we have. I also would recommend that employees of the library and select boards be part of a strategic plan, since they're the ones that are going to be implementing it in a large part. So when you have that many varying people in the room, it is helpful to have an outside person facilitating and taking notes, and that way it's not left on you to have to fill out the template and capture everything. They walk us through it.
Well, first of all, it wasn't gonna be about me.
No, I'm just saying,
None
none of us.
But at the same time, the first initial meeting is when we decide who initially will participate in it and who we would invite and so forth. We haven't even got to that point. And I'm sorry?
I am
I was
protected.
finished. Well, I'm saying that would be the first thing to establish who would take up the entire strategic plan. Second part of that is to do due diligence and research examining. We saw which other people on board for strategic plan. Strategic plan with the last board, okay, which I was also part of. Okay, so what we'll do is, I make a motion, I need someone to make a motion to table this until we have an opportunity to do some additional research on this. I make the motion.
I wasn't sure. Okay, that's okay. I make the motion to table this until we have the opportunity time for the right people to discuss this further. That's the motion.
To discuss what?
To discuss the strategic planning and or ideas and or implementation of strategic planning in 2022, and let me clarify, the 2022 to 2026, which is our 4-year term on the Pontiac Public Library. Thank you.
A second, it's been motion, second, discussion.
The only thing, give me your hand, I'm sorry. The only thing that I want to say is I like to see a beginning and end. I don't like to see it just, they could float on and on and on. So I was just wondering if we could amend it with a reasonable target date.
We're having it.
So that see what happened. My motion did not have a deadline or a target date. I'm saying that I feel we need to amend that to give it some kind of a stop point or target date or something. That's all I'm saying.
I'm making reference to the time for the street spending completed.
No,
Or in terms of this, it's an entire implementation.
okay. Would you mind if she repeat the motion? Because I thought it was just, was moving this to another meeting time for the organizing or giving suggestions or whatever. So would you repeat the motion? Maybe I misunderstood your motion. I just didn't hear no deadline date, like move it to the April meeting or whatever it was, April month or
So to add on to my motion, then, I'm sorry. You gotta look at that. Thank you. To add on to my motion, so let me recant my motion that I originally made. Rescind, excuse me, I said recant. Learning words. I'm gonna rescind my motion. So, somebody has a second, but I want to make a new motion. That's
Who made the second? You did it?
I'm rescinding my motion.
So she gotta remove her support.
I remove it. Okay, are we doing this right? Treasurer, trust, chairperson? Sorry, you're laughing, I wanna make sure I do it. Okay, thank you, I wanna make sure we're doing it right though. Okay, so now, I'm very funny. So we're gonna do it. And so now I wanna make the motion that we table this until, what day? I need that.
Okay. Yeah, if you're gonna table it, you should table it for at least April, the month of April.
So I would like to make the motion to table the planning of the strategic planning idea until April, until such time we have a committee and or a timeline of how we gonna get this. Is that the motion? Do you get it?
I support it.
Thank you. Discussion.
Okay, now that doesn't mean. Sorry. Give me. I'm sorry. Okay, now if I understand it and what I supported was activities can happen during the month of April, but we would have it on the agenda for our April meeting to see if anything's been done or whatever. The chair could at any time bring 3 people together to get it started, which I think I saw your hand up, you was interested. Okay, so she could report assign you to the subcommittee, and as long as 4 people aren't there, y'all could begin the designing of it, like you saying, get somebody to come in and help. And you could present whatever you have done, you could present it to us next month. Or whoever's on the committee, and then we can vote where we want to go from there, some direction.
And but that was not the motion. The motion said till April, so you could say that the motion is second, but you didn't say the table this and any other means to be there. And you put this on the agenda for the April meeting, April board meeting. You just said April, am I correct on that?
You are correct. You are correct.
Okay,
So that means that perhaps a special meeting or something meeting would like to happen in April.
Yes.
Have on the agenda for, okay, so can I get you to restate that?
that's what I thought I had said.
Now, but she said the month of April.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me exactly the way that you want it to be stated? Because I don't want to keep making a mistake and make a fool out of myself. Go ahead.
I didn't have a problem with what you said.
Okay. So,
I was just putting some clarification on to give an example of what could go on during April.
so I make the motion that we table this item until we have a special meeting where a board is selected to actually be on the strategic planning committee, the strategic planning committee. Okay. So I rescind my motion and or you want to rescind it and do it all over again?
I like to
As your chair.
I mean,
and I didn't have a problem.
okay, I want to amend my motion. Okay. Thank you, so that correction is direction to be made. No, that's a quote from the Bible. I want to amend my motion so that we can table this item so that a special subcommittee can be selected so that we can present this at the next meeting in April.
The motion is second discussion.
Yes, so we did have this discussion briefly last month, and the problem was that Chair Richardson was saying that she is the person that choose the subcommittee. So, because we did have this discussion, so that's why.
So that's what
So that's why we really didn't have a subcommittee in place this month because of that. So if we choosing a subcommittee,
We have a subcommittee, and we chose it. It's not in the last one. I believe, I asked for the basis with it. Right? Who? You saw who else was on the board. Chair recognizes, Secretary.
Okay, point of order. I never, ever heard, I just wanna make sure I have this clear, and I'm making this into, not in a moment, so it doesn't become a movie. I've never, in my 4 years on this board, ever heard that only the chair chooses from the board, so I don't understand where that came from. Don't sit well with me. If she asked for volunteers first, the previous board, we asked for volunteers while I served on council, which we are both guarding of. We both use a certain set of rules, which are the Robert Rules of Order. So I'm a little confused with that. Secondly, it was trustee, the lovely trustee Allen and Allen, I call you Allen, I'm sorry. Allen and yourself, Madam Chair, and there was no third person that was chosen. There was never any third person chosen. So I support y'all choosing somebody out in the open. That way everybody has equal there and it ain't gotta be used. Thank you very much.
Okay. First of all, I'm trying to find my bylaws, but the 4 years that, I was chair, I did ask for volunteers, but only the chair could appoint people to those subcommittees. Now, I did that for 4 years. So I'm trying to find the bylaws to see did I do the wrong thing for 4 years. So what I would like to see is people, if they want to volunteer, Chanel, right? Chanel has shown an interest in being on the strategic group or whatever. So the chair has the right to appoint who she wants to appoint, but I would like to see people on there at the beginning who are interested. See, like me. I'm not interested. And I would like to see somebody on there
That's it.
that's interested.
I said that. Said the class, but
You mean,
I did just say what it is, because I wasn't interested. I moved, I made a motion.
doesn't say, so I don't. But I know that's the way it is.
Madam Chair,
Yeah, I'm
So recognize trustees.
so, I know everybody's looking for the bylaws at this point, so I just wanted to leave that.
just-
Oh. So, you know, we did have this conversation last board meeting. In the last board meeting, I actually even went to the point of making a motion that anybody from the board that wanted to participate or that would form a committee made up of the board, that's inclusive of the board and anybody else that you deemed appropriate to be on the committee. That motion did not pass. However, I think to everybody else's point, she would be remiss if we did not include any and everybody on this board that wants to be a part of setting the direction, the strategic direction of this library. I don't know why you would not want to choose people that would want to participate. So I want to participate. I want to be on the committee just to do it. I actually even was the first person to bring this up in one of our meetings, that we should have a strategic plan.
And actually, I did make a motion that trustees of
The school, excuse me.
I just wanna, he helped me find it. The sheet that points out that it is the chair. Section 2 on that first page, under Article 3, it says the chairperson shall preside at all meetings of the board. Appoint all committees. And that's what I did for 4 years. So she is the chair and she can appoint the members to the committees, the subcommittees, or what. It's just that I just would like to see people on committees that they're interested in.
Here's my confusion, is that I thought we just said, and we were getting ready for the vote, that the entire board and other people would be a part of the strategic committee, and we would choose a day each month that we would actually work, so that it would be a special board meeting, so that it would be no conflict, and all the board meetings could be there, and it would be an open meeting for anyone to attend, and we would move forward on that. That's what I said. So I guess I'm kind of confused in terms of all the board members not being a part of it. I said that. I said plan a meeting for the month, okay, and then come back and present to the board at the board meeting. So I'm trying to understand, I thought if anything, we would vote initially on what day we would commence in order to have the meeting for the strategic plan or special board meeting. Chair recognizes Secretary of Military.
Okay, so, heard that, understand that, and relate to that, but my problem with this is, that there's elephant in the room, and it has to be clarified. Me and Matt, I didn't find Matt. Me and Treasurer, Patty have said openly, we are not interested in being on this board. I do believe also, if I heard correctly, that the vice chair is not interested in being on the strategic plan. So my question then becomes, instead of us making this vote, can you please put Chanel, trustee Weatherspoon on the strategic planning. And then we'll have a threesome. We'll have a threesome. It's a three people. I need such an issue with the trustee Weatherspoon, whether we agree or not all the time. She has asked openly and last strategic planning. So my question is, can you please put this woman on strategic planning? I don't understand.
I don't understand why I said the entire board, whether the entire board chooses to participate in it or not, she would still be a part of it. So it's not about putting her on it. If the entire board is going to be on it, if the entire board chooses not to participate, then we still move forward and have a meeting. At this point in time, discussion is closed on this, okay?
So you want to tell us
I'm sorry?
you want to tell us that's in the book too?
How long have we gone over this? Look at Robert Rules.
Okay.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor, right?
There's a motion on the floor.
Once again, I call for question. We take a vote.
Speak up now.
You done.
Roll call. Because that's my role to call roll call. That's what I do every other. Roll call. The chair doesn't call roll call. The secretary call roll call. Or maybe the audience said, that's what it says. Roll call, Madam Chair. I'm asking for the vote. She's called the question. The role of a secretary is to call for roll call. You just close out the discussion. Okay, so you want to say it again? You just call for the thing to be closed. Trustee Patchett has called for the question. My job as a secretary, as defined by, okay, I'm not getting front of you. I'm gonna be respectful as long as you're respectful of me. So let me clarify again, as if I was a 4-year-old. My role as the secretary of this board is to say roll call. That is what a secretary does. We keep notes and we say roll call. So I am asking for roll call, Madam Chair. Roll call on the vote. What's your, yes or no?
Oh, you call on the vote?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Oh, you just call, you just said that. Yeah, I really you called for me for my answer. I said,
Vice Chair, the motion. I rescind my motion.
oh, you said the motion that you said the
Yes,
table, oh,
yes,
that motion. Oh,
yes,
yes,
yes, okay, thank you.
I wasn't sure about it.
No, you said yes?
Yes.
Okay, trustee, Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Treasurer Hatchman.
Yes.
Trustee Allen. Yes. Yes, it passed.
All right. Here. Reduce.
The downtown finance related. Okay, oh, I'm sorry.
So, Madam Chair, just for point of clarity, can we make another motion before we move on to the next item, because I'm not satisfied? No one to make a motion, you are not conditionally set.
Well, I've moved on to the downtown finance related.
Finance surveillance.
That was last.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what it's done. Okay, third is one.
So, are you going to answer my question? Can I make another motion?
Make another motion now,
Thanks.
secretary of the.
I make the motion, please, to appoint Chanel Weatherspoon on the Strategic Planning Committee because that's the board she wants to be on.
The motion and second discussion.
So I said that I want to be on the committee, and whoever else should, on the board.
Any other discussion?
Roll call. Madam Chair.
No.
Vice Chair.
Yes.
Trustee Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Treasurer Hatch.
Yes,
Trustee Allen.
Yes.
Yes, motion passed.
You are the board. It's clear, you made the motion, you passed it. But if the bylaws indicate that it starts meetings and so forth, you passed it, okay, you can't override what the bylaws already said. Okay, and I indicated that everyone on the board is on the subcommittee, so I don't understand why that should be the motion. So we're moving on from that, we're finished with that, we're moving forward, we're dealing with, President White.
okay. I don't know who recommended it, put it on here, but we do need to try to get that up and running again. The Friends of the Library, the volunteers can be very helpful to us. And we need to start working on getting that organized and in place. What do I need to do? Do I need to do anything else besides that?
Vice Chair, I asked you to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Yes. And I was also asking for you to put on the agenda to form the subcommittee for that also. Just to put out that I would like to be part of that.
Any other comments about the Friends of the Library?
This is a new business item or is it an action item? I'm just gonna make sure I.
There's nothing on the action. It just says new business.
Even though it's on here under new business, we could still take action. We could still take action.
I just said it
No, you didn't. I was trying to clarify for Melanie that it didn't have to be under an action item. We've been taking actions all night that haven't been under the action item. So we can, if someone on the board wants to make a motion, that we start with it or whatever.
That's what.
Did you make a motion on
She
it?
said if you wanted to make.
I would like to, yes.
But did you make a motion?
I will right now.
Okay.
I make a motion that we start a subcommittee or a committee to elect Friends of the Library. To start.
Organized.
Very sad. All the details. Thank you.
The motion is second, discussion. Any discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Roll call. Madam Chair. Vice Chair. Sorry, I had to lose my throat. Trustee Weatherspoon. Sorry, Lord. Treasurer Hatchett.
Yes.
Trustee Allen? Yes, motion passes.
Honestly, that's the first thing on my report was RFP. And this RFP was in reference to the pavilion. So Mr. Hayes is here. And so one of the things I wanted to be doing, everybody got a copy of his initial proposal. He's the only one after these construction decided that they no longer want to participate in it. So at this point, we have an opportunity to look at it, to see his work and so forth. Everybody received a copy of that. So I'd like Mr. Hayes to take time to come to the podium and answer the questions that you might have.
I know you come a little frustrated, but I don't know if Mr. Hayes can do that. Because all of the other,
He had an actual RFP, it was put out there for him. Okay, it wasn't him.
he had an actual,
Yes, we put an RFP out for him.
we put out a general
Yes, he
RFP,
did.
and he is the one that responded. Nobody else did.
These contractors said they don't want to participate in it. Yes.
Okay,
So
I don't have a problem with you presenting. What I don't want to come back on us, Reggie, is some of the people who left. And they come back on us and say, well, why did you let Mr. Eads?
No, I understand. I saw either way, however you want to do it, fine.
You could go ahead and present. She said they put out.
he's not down here as a vendor. He's not listed down here as a vendor. He's down here for, I'm calling him as an RFP because we put out the request for proposal and he responded. And then these constructors said they no longer wanted to be a part of that. We had a first read, everybody had a copy of it, asked people to read it again, and then he was coming tonight so they could ask him questions. So, Rich, go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I'm gonna ask any questions that you may have with regards to the proposal that I submitted. And,
Where is the proposal?
It's actually under January.
And we submitted it, and on our signature, everyone,
Okay.
yes. And then I sent everyone pictures of the email that, the email those pictures also, so you can have it that way for review. So does anyone have any questions for Mr. Hayes? Keep in mind, this, all this, $10,000 has been sitting out in the public for almost a year. Put the request for proposal out, and that's the response we got. So we're looking to make sure that we get this job done, because as summer comes, we want to make sure the pavilion is open, just for us in general, aside from whether or not we're going to ask people if they want to do like they did in the past, 30 years or so, to find out whether or not they want to do the organization down there, the fundraising and so forth. So just want to
Point of clarification, so the work that you're going to do is strictly going to be for the Pontiac Public Library, correct?
that's my understanding.
Okay, I want to make, for all those at home, just for us, right?
Definitely.
Okay, I'm asking this because I want to make sure, if I recall, 2017, there was an issue where there was some misunderstanding about outside work being done outside of here, under the contract that we have here with you. And I want to clarify that because I don't want it to be mislabeled, misunderstood, or mishandled, that any other extra work at people's houses, things like that, can go on. So it's strictly, I want to make sure you didn't have it, right?
No.
Okay, cool. And you will do no other work except for the Pontiac Public Library on this situation that you build the RFP on, correct?
I'm not understanding.
Okay, so my
Outside
question,
of that.
no. My question is that what we're paying you for is strictly for the premises of the Pontiac Public Library, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Anybody have any questions? If there are no questions,
If I have one. Once the work is completed, who will be doing the inspection to make sure it is up to our standard?
well, the inspectors are that initially, he has to go through the job permission. Okay? Whether it's the city or whether it's the county. He has to pull those permits. And they have to go to my, based on what they're saying needs to be done. During the process, not just at the end, but they come out throughout the process and look at the work. And then they initially, determine if there's anything that needs to do before the final inspection is done and occupancy can be, posted.
And before the work begins, I believe, trustee, Secretary Rutherford, in one of our prior meetings, had wanted to make sure that we had a full or complete inspection before the work started. So was that request made and done before, or else
That's
waiting for
a
that
part
to happen?
That's a part of it. If you saw, Mr. Hayes indicated that he had talked with the inspector before, and that they are gonna come out and do another inspection. So you know exactly what needs to be done and what needs to be done in order for you to proceed with the work.
Okay, and then there was a question about the, I believe trustee, Marion had a question about the ventilation system or something, you wanted clarification, and we were told that the city of Pontiac needed to come out.
Yes, that's what the health department told me. I took the contact with them when I first got involved to see what the scope of work entailed on their part. And it talked about the mechanical part. So Pontiac.
So there's a chance that your contract or the scope of your contract may change based on what comes back from that inspection. Or that.
It's very possible. A number of inspections can change. We try to look at everything in our bid, try to cover like the things like inspecting cities, right? That could be city, and even the health department can come back in and get other determinations because their report they refer to it as a consultation. When I talked to them, they said it was a personal complimentary type. So to me, as a contractor, that means that the inspection could be a little tough. So we try, based on my experience, I try to look at everything that they think of, cover things that are needed to ensure that.
Would it not be better for you as a builder that we did the inspection before we start the build? That's not happening. I'm sorry. That's it. Would it not be better? Would it not be more feasible that we go to the inspections first? We know exactly how much it's going to cost.
That's possible on the city side, unless this is the inspection report from the health department. So on the city side, sure. We could have people.
I was just gonna, remind us, brother, that when you go into this with the community proceeding, you have the health department to come out and to point out. Did you get that, Richard? Yeah, that they pointed out
I think that's what
needed to be repaired. They talked about the floor, they talked about the hood, and it was several things.
He has that, we gave that to him, and then since that time, before he submitted his bid, we go back out there and had a conversation with him. I don't know, did you guys come back out together and look at the facility, you and the county?
No, I talked to him over the phone.
over the phone. Okay, but he does have that information, and so he based on that, and he had several conversations with them and the city, before he submitted. And he said one of the things that he did is try to take this into account, what things that might necessarily get, but it's, you know, the final bid is not actually stone based on the fact that there might be some other, stipulations.
Yeah, we tried to look at everything and we thought that they would be concerned.
But I just wanted to remind you that there had been a help.
Yes.
Back when we were trying to deal with community cuisine.
Right.
That there had been, a representative from the health department. So I'm assuming his bid is based upon, the stuff that came out of there, everything but the floor.
Yeah, primarily.
Because
that's,
our previous, director, I don't think put it out for bid, and it was somebody she knew, and they put in the floor, so he can't be responsible for the floor or any flaws or anything, with that, because that was done before he put in his bid.
That was not on the floor, was not on the As he said this.
I just I have a point of information. So would the process be that once the city comes out, and if this bid has to be revised, will it bring it back in here?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if we vote on it, if we vote tonight, it would be a part of that. I want someone to make a motion that would have stipulation in there that said that this is contingent upon what the city of Pontiac and the health department indicate has to be done. So those factors will be taken into consideration for him accepting the contract. Anything else? Yes.
I just want to let you know that it has happened to us, that we had other contracts out, and when the people started working on them, they discovered some other things, so it was a modified contract was brought back to us to ask questions and things like that. So that's what we'll have.
Any other questions?
Because they have to put in what they call a change order, and we have to approve that.
Any other comments? Do you want to take a vote on this so we can move forward on this?
I would like to make a motion that we award the contract for the pavilion to
R.L. Hayes.
Huh?
R.L. Hayes.
To R.L. Hayes
LLC, yes.
LLC.
Second. I'm sorry.
It's the motion and second discussion.
Roll call. Madam Chair.
Yes.
Vice Chair. Yes. Treasurer.
Yes.
Trustee Wednesday. Yes. Yeah. And last but not least, yes, 6-0. You can go.
I do want to say one thing, if you go back over my proposal, if anybody has any questions or have you feel free to contact me.
And you do have his phone number and his email address. Yes.
Okay, I just for Mr. Hayes' sake, make sure that you understand with the chair and our interim director, the process for receiving money. If you recall, we had a problem with somebody who didn't want to follow our existing way of getting money from us. So make sure you understand that, because I don't want you to do work and then can't get your money. So you make sure that you understand the process for the financial part.
Okay, so I'll be contacting you.
Well, thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you. Okay, continue with my report. The parking lot, I had an opportunity to look at the parking lot. It looks like there's cracks. I don't know if the cracks are coming, because he did a great job in December. It was back in 2016, or 15, that the parking lot was done. But I don't know if you recall that, the parking lot is under the river. I mean, the river is under the parking lot. So I don't know if the cracks are there because of that. But Mr. Smith did an excellent job, and I would like to be able to contact him again. And not only did he do a good job, but he gave up. And I don't know, any company that does asphalt, they give you a warranty on it. But he gave us a 5-year warranty on it, okay? And so I would like to be able to call him, because I don't want those cracks to turn into something else, and see if there's something that he can do regarding that. So that was one thing that I was doing. Laptops. I know that Edmund talked to you guys about laptops and making sure that we're on board in terms of getting those done. I had him send a letter out to the other 3 board members regarding turning the laptops in or paying them, because he did get figures as far as appreciation was whether or not they want to keep them or whether or not they initially wanted to have the information put on the drive so that they could continue to keep that version of the like clean. So look forward, we have not forgotten about the laptops. Our budget plan, keep in mind, we're going to be looking at the budget. It's going to come up in April, so between now and then. I don't know if it'll be a little bit later or not, because it might be a little bit later than coming up with the first read for April, for the April board meeting. Touch on that a little bit further. I talked with a person that has an online magazine, and I also talked with the city of Pontiac, since we are part of the citizen of Pontiac. We do introduce the entire board. We have interviews done, so we can air on local access. So I wanted to give it them, if you guys decide whether you want to do it almost like a round table, or just individually, go meet with Mr. Brown, have him do the interview, and then we post it on local access to introduce each one of the library director interviews. We have met. We have narrowed it down to 2 individuals now, because I indicated last month that I didn't know that we had applied. So we did have, I think, 5 applicants. We chose 4, because one of the applicants that came from was from Seattle, Washington, decided not to seek their name. So we ended up with 4, and of those 4 people, so maybe we'll decide to interview 2 people, and those interviews will be next week. We have a draft of a contract that was put together from our attorney, our labor attorney. Okay. First interviews from the labor on Zoom. Took questions from the American Library Association and compile those together so we can come up with a total of 25 questions, they were 26, because we came up with 1 more. And the question was, how do you plan to work with the library board, and what's your understanding of how the library board and library director works together? So we have that, those things that are in place. For the moment, the other thing I was hesitant to give a start date for the first meeting for the budget, which is normally the April meeting, is because if you have a new director in place, you would have to, she or we would have to look at the budget and sit down with Mr. Harvey. Anything else that you need, that's to be reviewed before you come to the board. Yes, sure,
So I understand that there is a committee, but it's also my understanding that the findings of that committee is to be brought into this, everything should be open and available it should be brought in here. So I don't know who you guys are interviewing. As you know, I would have thought those candidate names, even the ones that you decided not to move forward with, would have been brought in here for discussion.
I'm just giving you a general overall.
When you're saying that there's interviews scheduled and people selected, but that was not done openly.
We just did that last week. We just met last.
Before you make a decision, that information needs to be brought forward openly. That's in the.
Everybody received that information of all the candidates. And we just met last week and bring it back to you now. And just understanding you a general information. Okay, I didn't get a chance to even finish. Okay, I just told you what we're in the process of doing, and then I can go back and we can review and we will tell you of the 4 candidates who we move forward with. Because you have all 4 of the candidates in your binder.
I do have all 4 candidates in my binder. However, and I know that there was a committee, but my understanding was the committee was appointed to find additional candidates, not to make a final determination on who's going to be interviewed. I thought that would be there would be a proposal brought before us, and we decide as a board who's going to be interviewed. So there's some clarification that needs to be had as far as the role of the recruiting committee or the directors committee and the role of the board.
You're recognizing some.
Okay, I am so frustrated right now because that's exactly what I understand as well. And open meeting act require that we do that. We cannot do this. We have to follow. Listen, I'm sorry if people don't like that I'm a stickler for rules, but I'm learning through trial and error as a city council person. We have to bring everything out in the open to the public because we are setting ourselves up to say that we show some form of discrimination and we're going to end up in trouble. We cannot do that. And I'm frustrated because I don't understand. I get the roles. We all have a title, but at the end of the day, we are a board. And why is it so difficult to do the Robert Rules of Order? I'm sorry, we can't do that. It's against the law. It is against the law. We cannot move forward until we formally present it to the whole board in its entirety. And I believe that a former chairperson can concur with what I'm saying because they serve on many boards. It's not right. I'm sorry, I'm frustrated. I went through 2 months with this board to be caught up in something in another 2 months. Now I apologize for my passion. I'm not going through this. We can't do that. We can't.
And I will finish once I'll let everyone else speak in terms of where we are about the people. Yeah, several.
Okay, board members. The item that we're on is chair report. The chair should be allowed to complete her report. And then she will open it up and ask you if you have any questions, concerns, suggestions. So I'm asking you to please let her finish her report. When she finishes her report, then she's going to ask, are there any questions, suggestions, whatever? So I would appreciate it if y'all would do that. That's the polite thing to do now.
As I was saying about the director, each one of you have the 4 applicants and reviews. As I said, the 5th person from Seattle Washington. So of those 4 people that were left, we went through and we had a discussion about that. If you look at the 4 applicants that there were, okay, then you can review those, and then we can talk about what our decision was for each one as we move forward. So if you would review those would have been in your February, the February report. For all 4 of them were listed. And I was part of the reason why they were in your February report, so you could have an opportunity when we came back together to discuss that. Once the subcommittee was met, and then we could talk about after first my report, you can, still have an opportunity to look at that. And then we can talk about our findings or what our thoughts were. And then we can move forward in terms of what we decided as far as the interviews go. Is that the interview? Won't give everybody an opportunity to look, and so if they have any questions about it, okay, we can move forward on that. Okay, and we decide what they want to interview, let's interview all four. The time is getting late, and as we understand, in order for us to get our funding, that we need to have someone in place. And so, since we have four people, we were looking at that, so we need to interview all four, so do it. Okay, because we have four applicants, if we continue to wait around for more applicants, you never know what we have time to have. Before I asked Edward to continue to keep the jobs posted, and they are still posted. So as of today, Edward, have any other applicants coming in? No. Okay, so as of today, no additional applicants are coming in for those. So again, your decision is that you're going forward, you will do that. If not, if you have questions about who that we selected to interview, we can have that discussion also. And we do have the questions, like I said, that came from ALA, and then combined, and we did have the, I did have the labor attorney to put together a contract for whoever will be the director. In addition to that, he gave us the questions or the guidelines in order to ask questions from the Michigan Civil Rights Commission, so that we would ask any questions that we could in terms of being liable for anything by asking the wrong questions. So he provided us with that also, so we have those also in place. So I'm giving you folks 2 more minutes to look at that. And again, we'll go back to the budget planning, is that once we do interview, the entire board will come back and I don't know how I guess we would have a special board meeting so that the applicant can be interviewed by everyone or whatever the process is, and I will find out specifically how that would be done from the labor attorney to move forward from that. But those are the things that are in place. So just put it on my report, other than the things, I'm open for questions or comments. You'll recognize you today.
I think we need to interview all 4 people. Because sometimes our customers represent a paper that's not represent our customers in person. And we need to give these people the opportunity. We truly have been contacting us and interesting opportunity to be in. My second comment is I'm trying to find out who is on the selection committee. Because I don't have a point of clarity about that. Who was chosen to be don't before to enroll the criteria other than the and who is actually on that committee. I don't understand. I didn't get the name. So we can let me know.
So it was myself. And yeah. As far as, I guess we were, I was choosing. So it probably was the same for the it's fine. We should, yeah.
clear with the needs. So it's been a month since I've lived through these residents, so I have to think again. However, at that time, there was only one, maybe two people that, based on my 20+ years working in HR and 10+ years recruiting, that I would actually recommend interviewing. My concern is if we're just, kind of lukewarm on these people, to Melanie's point, they may present better in a face-to-face interview, or a Zoom interview, however you want to do it. But we may want to also consider, retaining an executive recruiter to go out and find the talent that we're looking for, because we're expecting people to come and apply. And quite frankly, we may have to sell ourselves to these people, because unfortunately, the library probably does not have the best employment brand at this point. So a lot of the best talent isn't necessarily out there looking. You actually have to go to them and say, are you interested? And an executive recruiter would do that. Now there's two different types of recruiters that you can get. One that's retained, so you pay something up front, and one that's contingent. If they happen to find you someone that you like, you ultimately end up interviewing, then you pay them a fee, a finance. So that's my suggestion, so that we have a broader base of candidates to choose from, not just being at the mercy of whomever applies.
And I did talk to a recruiter who initially asked for the $36,000. Okay. To do the recruiting for us. So it's not like I just said, you just gonna have a subcommittee to do it. Okay. I did contact someone, okay, and had a conversation with them, an in-depth conversation with them regarding recruiting. Okay. And I thought based on some of the places that they initially went and looked, that we would, as far as the American Library Association, the Michigan Library Association, we can, a couple of the interviews, a couple of the things that we did do that. Okay. And I believe that if you look at ALA and you look at their job postings and positions that are there, you got some from public libraries to universities that are looking for people in those positions. So, I mean, it's $36,000 that the initially did, but I just thought, well, based on those agencies and the questions that they were asking from both LA and MLA, and I asked them that and also I asked them to look at, when you say university has a informational science program that graduates library science degrees. University of Michigan does informational science, which is also necessary, and librarians are graduates with that who are allowed and required under the state of Michigan to receive funding, because if you don't have that qualification, you're not allowed to have that. You're not allowed to get any state funding if that person is not certified. Yes, the chair recognizes Secretary.
I just think we need to go about it differently. If we want to get talent, we have to do something different. We want to fish, we got to fish better. There are other people who would actually want to try to be our candidate to go in the firm. There are other firms, I'm sure, that the expertise and the knowledge and the wherewithal of Trustees, Web School, that we can use some references. I don't feel comfortable, and because I'm a person on the opposing end of reshaping and revamping the imagery of the library. I am just not content with the manner in which these people are trying. It does not disqualify me in any way, shape, or form. I just want something to pizzazz me and wow me, because we are about to pay somebody up to 6 figures, and the library is my baby. And I want to see it done right, so when I leave this board at this term, I can say that we have done everything we can in our due diligence. So I just think we need to hire somebody who knows more than we do. I do not feel comfortable proceeding. I don't. And I've made the mistakes in the past of allowing my emotions to lead me And this time, because I don't want to make the mistake of giving $20,000 raises and the regular, I think we need to hire somebody else to go with the recruiting for us. And that's my opinion, and I speak from experience. I don't feel comfortable with it.
Any other comments? Yes.
So I do know that the Lake Orion Public Library had an opening that came open after our opening came open, and they placed a candidate or hired someone for their library director position right before the end of the year. So we may want to also consult with them to see what channels they went through to find their candidates. That's another option, to reach out to our peers to see what else they're doing. As far as recruiting, they may even have other candidates that they would recommend now that their position is filled. So I think we need to utilize every resource at our disposal, including our neighboring library.
Okay, we have to, I don't care if we have to stay here to midnight. We have to make a decision on this, because these people, have they already been contacted for the interview? All right. We have directed, Edmund to contact the two people we were looking at for interview. So now we're gonna have to make a decision. I thought last month y'all had made this decision, and this is why we moved ahead with it, coming up with the questions for the interview process. I get nervous when there's more than 3 people at something. But if you want all 6 people to be involved in the interview, then we have to reprogram what we're doing now. But we need to make a definite decision tonight what we're going to do. I thought she had already made that decision last month.
If the entire board is going to be involved in that, then that's an open meeting act. That means
Right.
it's open to the public.
Right,
The interview is open
right.
to the public. So
So that's why I get nervous, Chairwoman, when we start going over 3. So, we gotta make a decision about it, in terms of, since it's virtual, maybe, the different board members could just click in on the interview and see what the,
that's still 4 people.
oh, they can't, okay.
So what I will do,
We have to make a definite decision, is all I can tell you. We can't keep going like this.
there's a common report regarding the interviewing on the floor. Also on the report is regarding, don't interview any of them until we go and look at what some other library is doing, okay? And see if they have,
I didn't make a comment that said.
May I finish, please? May I finish?
I want to correct
No,
you,
let me
you're
finish.
misrepresenting what
Can
I
you just
said.
stop? You're out of order, okay?
Don't misrepresent what I said, and I won't get out of order.
Now, let her finish, and then, in all fairness, she should let you respond next.
One person indicated that we should interview 4, but at the same time, is concerned that perhaps we need to let someone else come in and help guide us in respect to research. The other comment was regarding looking at other libraries and the process they follow and see perhaps if they had anybody that they wanted to share with us, that give us some information, and reach out to them. Or the fact that to recruit someone that can, so one is 2 ways, as I initially said, we already talked to someone regarding doing the national search for us. or to have someone that's more like contingent that would, based on their findings, they would be paid for the search that they would like, getting someone for the position. So that's where we are at this point. So I just need to know, so we're in discussion now, so I'd like to know, any other comments?
Her comments is next because she stopped. So we need to recognize her now to clarify what point of view she had.
Okay. So out of respect for the people that have taken the time to apply, I am not saying don't proceed with it because these people have been waiting now well over. And one guy, I don't know, first of all, you guys didn't even say who you were going to interview. That hasn't even been discussed here today. But out of respect for those that have applied, and especially since someone has already been called, I think it would be appropriate to interview those people, but I don't think we should stop our search. And I think we should be made aware we're conducting these interviews, but the search is continuing as we look for additional candidates.
We never indicated in our meetings that we had that this would be the final decision. We never indicated that. We said simply that we would interview people. We did not say that would be our final decision. What I did say is that based on the people that we would interview, we would come back to you and have a conversation with you so that you could talk to them also. I believe that was exactly what I said. But we never said that was a definitive decision in respect to the people that we interview. And it's, like you said, it's more since we interview all four and the vote comes up when we get to that point, since we're gonna make this an action item and we move forward on that.
Okay. So what is clear tonight that this process is not clear to all of us sitting around the table and who is doing that. And I think that's at the crux of the issue we're having, and which is why we can't move forward. Because we made decisions to have a small committee, which again, any employment decisions have to be brought in here and is subject to public scrutiny. We have to have that be transparent, how we're selecting and the criteria we're using for employment decisions or selection decisions. So it's not clear. That's why we're struggling right now, and it needs to be clear. However we choose to move forward has to be very clear so everybody's on the same page.
Any other comments?
I mean, I guess that's what that would be my comment also, is to just interview all four. And then that way we get everyone that we get experience. And also, I think the problem is, and I mean, I'm not faulting the bylaws, but I think the problem is probably the bylaws. Because the bylaws are saying that only the chair can do these things, and it's putting everyone else in a position to have issues with that, if that makes sense. So I think the bylaws maybe need to be revisited, and I did bring this up, that maybe we should revisit the bylaws, because I know you can't change bylaws, and I don't feel like as a board that is the best decision for the board. That is not the best decision for the board to have one person making a decision on who sits or who goes where. So I think that, but that you know, that's, I'm sure, for a later discussion, but I don't think that's a bad idea. Because I know the board can't rewrite bylaws.
Any other comments?
I need to next week without them listening to that. If we continue down this road, sadly,
dismissing other board members, we're never gonna get this stuff done. And this is from a person who loves to jab. But I also understand the matter at hand. And I think that, and I'm saying it, and it's totally off subject, but if I don't say it, then I'm not being a leader. We are 6 African-American women on this board. And I have just, I don't understand, my frustration is so clear about something that's so simple. The fire board never went through the count, I don't understand this. And maybe because I'm not fearful of getting, if you want, I said it to you in my city council, respect is earned and not easily given. I don't have to agree with you, but being dismissive of board members is 15. Nobody is above anybody. You were put in these positions to guide us, and I don't feel guided. And I apologize, this is off the subject, but people are acting like they squeamish and back down, and that's one thing I don't do. My godmother and the previous chair would tell me that if it's wrong, it's wrong. You cannot keep talking to people the way that people are being talked to. I want to leave because even though I like the jab, it's too much. It is. I don't know what it's gonna take. I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable making these decisions. I feel comfortable in the way that the chair is talking to people on this board. And if no one else is going to say something about it, I'm going to say something. It ain't right. It ain't right. We are trying to make decisions because we don't want to be the laughing stock of every library board in the state of Michigan. We don't want to get sued. We don't want to get lied on. We don't want to be mishandled. And yet we're being talked to like we're children. We are adults who have chosen to serve free of charge in the city of Pontiac. And if you don't know that, please know this. Just like we voted for the chair, we can vote for the chair to not be here. I'm not going to continue to watch us keep being disrespected. I'm not. And I apologize, I am not yelling, but I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm not. And excuse me, I'm sorry, ma'am. I apologize. And I know you're going to get on me, but I can't. Excuse me. What do you want? What is bad for me?
What I'd like to do at this time is make a definitive decision, taking action on where do we go from here as it relates to this selection process for director. Now, I thought it was fine with just the three of us and how we got down to the questions that we would do for the interview. However, doesn't matter to me how many people are there. I'm just scared of that quorum rule. I'm scared of that. So I don't know how we can work with this and not violate the quorum rule. We can leave the subcommittee in place and let them go through the process of making a recommendation back to the body as a whole. We can bring the questions that we have down and have selected in order to ask the folks. But we gotta make a definite decision. We can't keep going on like this. So we need to make a definite decision on how do we proceed from here and not violate the quorum rule. You can't violate the quorum rule. If you open it up to a special meeting and all of us are here to ask the questions or things, fine. The public can sit there and listen, but the public cannot participate or make a decision. But we must make a decision because we can't let this keep dragging on and on and on. So I was fine with the way it was operating, but if you wanna change it, fine, we can get the, I don't know if you already sent them or not, the interview questions. Were they sent to everybody? If y'all want us to have the interview questions sent to everybody that we selected, and,
I don't even think we haven't even gotten that. And they need to Edmund, but he had not even submitted one to us.
okay, so we will
So,
work on that, but the three people who were in the meeting were made aware. So then the other three need to be made aware, that's all I'm
I
saying.
said, well, he had to put it together, so I think he's in the process, but I just asked him tonight if he had finished putting it together, and then they would be dispersed to everyone. And then the
Okay.
information from the labor attorney, all that, will be submitted to everybody to review also.
So can we make a decision that, we've already let them know which ones we had looked at? Can we make a decision to let everybody see the 25, 26 interview questions?
That's, I don't think.
I need some steps here, Rosie, we need
I
some,
understand what you're saying.
I'm trying to get closure on this. So what do
Well,
you,
first of all, before we get to that point, where we just have the questions, okay, are we making a decision to interview everyone? And if we are doing that, we have to get some other steps before whether the questions are out there or not. Okay, we still have to decide how we're gonna move forward as far as the interviews or whatever.
I only threw that out
No, I
as an example.
understand.
And y'all can come up with whatever example that you want, just as long as we move forward. We move forward, so I'm just trying to get you, we gotta make a decision tonight, we just have to. This can't go on month after month.
So I know you guys had narrowed it down to two. I still don't know which two that was. So it would be nice if you guys kind of presented to the whole board who the two are, what was the criteria you used, why those two. So we all kind of have an understanding of what's happening.
And I said to you, and I think the Kathy said the same thing, and I know for sure I said that I was just giving you the summary of my report. And then once that came about, then we could go into details about who we selected and so forth. But before we could even get, and I made that real clear, I said that, okay, about the report, okay? And I said, at that point when I finished, and she indicated, she said, well, let her finish the report. And I said, let me finish. I said, and then it's an opportunity for you to post whatever questions, comments that you have to say. So before all that even took place, the decision was made. So it wasn't about who got to that point, because we got so many other issues came up. And so if the point was decided that you interview all four, then I would think the first thing we do is to make a decision, okay? We can interview all four, is interview all four. And there was nothing ever stated that based on those interviews that anything was etched in stone, okay? That's why all four of you were asked to go back and review the four people that applied and any comments that you had about that. So if that's the first step you want to do is interview all four, that'll be the first thing. The second step would be to come back and have a decision from the board. They can decide what people, if they want to narrow it down or just interview all four of them a second time, or narrow it down to a few on the second, for a second interview. That's the decision that can be made. So number one, the decision would be made to interview all four. Okay, are we in agreement on that? Yes. Do you have a consensus, or do you want to make a motion? I'm sorry. Anybody want to make a motion? I agree with the secretary, but we should do all four. Is there a motion?
That's action.
I move that we It should be all 4 candidates for the library director's position.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been motion and second. Discussion?
Yes, I have a discussion.
Okay.
I'm not against interviewing all 4. I'm not against that. But I'm trying to figure out if these 4 people would come before all of us, or are you making a recommendation that the subcommittee of 3 interview all 4?
So there's a motion on the floor now, and we have a discussion.
That was discussion.
But there's a motion on the floor, and we have a discussion with that. So if we take care of step 1, okay, that would be the motion on 4. Then step 2 would be another
There
motion.
is no step 2, Rosie, until we get an agreement on step 1.
And step 1 is the motion on the floor to interview 4 people.
So let's finish discussing that and vote on the motion.
So I guess I should clarify the motion, because I think what Treasurer actually is saying is who is interviewing all 4. So maybe I should clarify that. So I guess that to me is before I clarify that motion, retract my other motion and clarify that motion, I probably need to ask the other members.
Hold on. Are you taking your motion back?
I retract my previous motion. So now.
Who seconded?
I
Did I?
No, I did.
She would have to retract her second.
I tried again. Not gonna do it. I retract it. Go ahead, ma'am. She's talking. Go ahead.
So I retract my previous motion. Go ahead. I retract my previous motion. Thank you.
Now what you gonna do? Are you gonna make a new motion?
So can I ask a question before I make the motion?
You may ask the question.
So I guess my question is, so we're not able to have all 6 members present, correct?
No, you know what, as far as I know, and the only other thing I can think of is like the hearing that they have in the 2 justices, where everybody asks the questions and it's open to the public. Okay, so I would rather than answer that question, I would like to contact the attorney to get a clarification on that before I say, yes, we can interview all 4. And then everybody on the board do it, and then you would have to be open to the public. So I want to ask that question of the attorney. I don't want anybody having any problems with that. The chair concerns.
Yes, I would like to know if the interviews are already recorded. If so, after the recording, and then we go up to the body, and then we all watch them as viewing, and then go from there. And a special meeting, and go that way.
Special meeting is still open to the public.
However, they can.
So I'm just letting you know, it's still be open to the public. Any Zoom meeting can be recorded.
Right, so
Absolutely.
in that manner, just to get it out the way.
Let me
we can report off.
just ask the attorney how it is.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have a problem with it, but I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. That's why he gave me the comments in terms of civil rights, to make sure nothing would be violated.
Absolutely, and get it all out the way, one round, interview all 4 people.
Okay.
I want to read a blurb from the Michigan Public Library trustee manual. And it speaks directly to recruiting library board directors. And it said, the board's consideration of employment applicants should be done in open session unless the person named in the application requests confidentiality, in which case the board must go into closed session. Members of the public are not permitted to attend closed session. So if you want to talk to the employment law attorney, you may also want to talk to the other attorney, I can't remember her name at this point, about the process and making sure that what we're doing as far as the subcommittee and how the resolutions that we're following the appropriate process. Because if everything is supposed to be in front of the public, we need to make sure we're making provisions, finding out if the candidates want confidentiality, because maybe they don't want the employer to know they're looking for other employment, that kind of stuff. So if that's the case, we need to make provisions to make sure we're complying with what's laid out and expected from the state.
And so I will reach out to the attorneys. That's that simple.
So that's on page 73 of the Michigan Public Library Trustee Guide.
I'm still going to reach out to both attorneys because they
And you
know-
should, I'm just letting you know what pages are on the website. It's on page 73. Thank you.
So we made a motion, as we take to a motion for that, and I'll be as the right to do law as a member. I want to make motions, correct? I want to make sure I'm clear, using my email address, I work on the experience. I would like to make a motion that we interview all four candidates, and that the committee does that. And then we do it out. Here, everything's done. I would like to make a motion that we interview all four candidates, that the subcommittee interviews all four candidates. Okay, once the subcommittee has came back with their findings, they present it to the whole board as a whole, then we as a board initiate next steps, and that these interviews and the next steps are done by the next meeting in April of 2022. I make that motion.
Motion is second, discussion.
Roll call, Madam Chair. Trustee Weatherspoon.
Yes.
Sorry. Vice Chair Yvette Rinker. Trustee Angela Allen. Treasurer Maddie Hatcher.
Yes.
Secretary Melanie Rutherford. Yes, the motion carries. Passed.
I'd like to, may I comment first? Please recognize, okay? And I voted no because I don't want to move forward and interview anybody as a subcommittee and find out from the attorneys that that was not the proper vote, that was a vote about. So I'm voting no until I have a conversation with them. But you guys want to go ahead and have the interviews without me consulting the attorney, I'm not comfortable with that. So I voted no. So even though the motion passed, I voted no. Secretary? Treasurer?
Man, I forgot the one. That's what I was going to say. Maybe it'll come. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. You know, the whole while that I was chair, I was never called on first to make my vote. I would like for you to consider either me or somebody else and let the chair, that puts a lot of heat on the chair, be the first one to be called. So I would like for that to be considered, that the chair not be the first one called. That one of us, or either we used to take turns who was called first, or whatever. So I would like to see the voting procedure happen like that. We each take a turn being first, or whatever. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm the chair.
I apologize. I'm sorry. Trustee, Treasurer Patrick, I apologize. The reason why I was doing that is because there's such a precedent for people who go in rows of order. And I'm just trying to clarify it so that it's done there. It was not done out of malice. I have to put that on all smack. No, hold on, I know. I won't say that 'cause I can't wait to close the comments. I apologize. It won't happen again. I'm trying something different. And thank you for correcting me the right way. I appreciate your wisdom in that. Thank you.
Yes. When you say you have to contact the attorney, is it like a 2-week wait period or something, or can you contact her tomorrow morning and she respond, or do you have to set a meeting for the entire board? No, what I'm asking is how it's like the board. Okay, so do you have to set up a meeting, or is that like an immediate response? So it's not gonna be thrown out.
I make the motion to approve your report as so read.
What?
You know, we have to, make vote to approve her, report as so read.
I second.
Discussion? I just want to say my report was a summary report, and it was open for discussion. And so we're comfortable, prior to being able to finish my report, some comments that were made, without giving an opportunity to initially any other comments?
I do, where's the action item, correct? Action items, correct?
That was the chair's report.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we go into closed session, please, without the minutes, please.
Wait, it's a motion.
It is, I'm sorry.
We're doing a discussion.
It's-
To accept my report.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Roll call. Trustee, Wilson? Yes. Vice Chairman, Yvette Brinkley. Treasurer Hatcher,
Yes.
Trustee Allen. Yes. Chair, Chair Richardson. Yes. Trustee, Secretary Richardson, yes, it motion has.
Okay, now, yes.
Time for, any something to report?
First of all, we don't have 4 people to interview. I was told to contact 2 people, and one of them has not responded. I don't think that person has support. So there's only one interview scheduled for Monday morning as of right now. Things. The previous board, near the end of the year last year, voted to have some roofing repairs. And it was too close to winter, so they didn't do it. And they're putting us on their spring schedule. Don't have the exact date, but they'll be doing repairs this spring. The email addresses, those email addresses are all set. I put in the binder and instructions on how to log into those email accounts. I'm supposed to now use those accounts in order to communicate with you. So take a look at that. If you have any trouble logging into your new email account, just let me know. The laptops are here. I thought I would be given them to you tonight, but actually, that there's supposed to be some sort of form drawn out that says that he understands the library's property and promised to bring it, return it and all that stuff. And that hasn't been drawn up. So I think I have to do that, or somebody has to do that before I can get them to you, but they are here. I haven't opened them and I haven't, well, I didn't plan to open them really. If you are not comfortable opening yours and setting it up, and let me know and I can work with you otherwise. Once this form is signed, I can just hand it over to you. Now, I'm going to be keeping the packaging and stuff that came with it, the warranty information. It's actually affixed to the box. It came in, so I won't be in the box, but the actual stuff, I'll be giving to you. And like I said, if you have or are not comfortable with setting up yourself, and let me know. We'll try. That concludes my report.
And as far as the, what needs to be signed by everybody here and there now, I think I need, do you have a copy of the old?
I've never seen one.
Okay, I think we could do that, and then we just have some additional stipulations added to it, because there's a lot of issues that are coming up with the LGBT or whatever, so I just think it needs to be streamlined in terms of, you know, because when people talk about it's a gift, it's mine, those kind of things, we need to make sure that all of that.
You want to work with me too?
I think I might be able to do it. No problem. Yes, and I will ask the attorney if he would give us an opinion or give us a feeling to that. And sometimes that might be helpful. Yes.
Well, I would like, I don't know what our technology department is like or whatever, but I would like those computers checked out to make sure that they are working right. There's nothing wrong with them. I don't want the next person to get it and then get the computer and find out there's something wrong.
Which computer?
I thought you told me they brought back the computer.
No, she is referring to the 3 computers that are still out there.
Yeah, I thought you said they brought them back.
That's not what I was saying.
Well, I misunderstood you. What were you saying?
Okay, so at the last meeting, the board voted to purchase new laptops. Instead of
Yes.
waiting for the others to come back, and when and if they would come back. So those are the laptops I'm talking about.
Oh, you talking about brand new laptops?
I'm talking about it.
Okay, then I'm going back to those. If they have not turned them in, have we sent them any kind of letter of demand to tell them if they're not here by a certain date, we will expect X amount of money for the computers and they can have them? But if they don't turn them in or give us the money, we should go to small claim court and sue them to get our money.
Well, the amount, the depreciated amount had to be determined first. So we have not sent the letters, but that has since happened. And yeah, we'll be sending the letters shortly. But yeah, we do now know how much the depreciated value is, so we can give them the option of returning it or paying them.
Because we didn't have somebody to bring in, we didn't decide we had 2 weeks first and everything, but then we just some paper. So now that the depreciation amount has been clarified, and we have the information, you're sitting it out in a certified letter. And the regular meeting, and also a copy of some to the attorney.
Three questions, Mr. Iran, I know I just want to see what y'all see. Because I have to. Go ahead, Mr. That is not true.
Listen, let
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't recall the actual number.
I apologize.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Don't do that.
I don't recall the actual number, but it's something.
So, the appreciated value of 2020 iMac, which is not a Mac Pro, you can look it up for yourself, facts is facts, is only $700. It depreciates at $200 every year value. The original sales price of the computer was $1,000. So we can't just say a number 900 if it's not true. And you don't have to believe me, because I like for people to have proof in the pudding. Go get the blue market book and see it for yourself. I don't think that's fair. That's the first thing. It's my flow and I can ask questions. This is question number 2. I believe Renita Duval contacted me and stated that she's trying to attempt to pay for, the previous board member has been trying to contact you guys to give y'all your money. Is that a correct statement?
I haven't received any communication.
Okay. Number 3, when we issue out, I've never signed a legal binding document from our attorney. And aren't we billed every time we contact our attorney for every situation? So why couldn't we, because that's the treasurer right there, why couldn't the treasurer come up with a rule for how the things are signed up versus us paying the attorney? Because the treasurer handles all the money, and this is a thing that was brought with the library money. So why are we going to the lawyer? I'm confused, because she's the treasurer. I'm confused.
You can't answer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
As far as the form for us new ones to get the laptop, we get technology support from the organization.
The library network.
Okay, can we ask them if they have a sample form that we can use for asset distribution? That they might actually have something that we could just modify on our own letterhead that we can use.
Sure.
Any other comments?
This is Women's Month, and what's the library doing or has done for Women's Month? I remember sitting back to me one time, we had a gathering here with women, and there was a speaker or something. But anyway, what are we doing for Women's Month?
We attempted to put a round table together for youth and adult, and that anybody who was interested or had time. There were a couple of people who felt like it would be a good thing, but they weren't available. So,
Well, you got a bulletin board, don't you?
oh, well, yes, we do have a display, and there's a banner in the window.
The other thing is March is Reading Month. What are we doing special for?
We don't do anything for reading month. We do summer reading.
Okay. That's all I have.
Well, I had a host of things that I suggested that we do.
We can only do something.
Okay. I understand that, but I did put out a host of things that we might be able to do. Perhaps some reading for kids who can do. With most pictures, I think have something that I know. In addition to, we have foster grandparents that read, that we do something, that we do something like that. Perhaps, and then he said the license for movies hadn't been renewed, so it's not available to April, because I said to do like a marathon movie on stories about women on Saturday and have a movie every evening. But the license hadn't been renewed in several years, so it's not going to be available until April. And I said a couple other things about that. I gave suggestions for April, which is poetry month. We perhaps we would all use for the poetry slam and some other things regarding poetry and so forth. I think it's May. Right, and I said, people owe you, stuff like that, because I asked the question. And of course, do the, but using them. And so that we can do that, and also do other things, suggestions like that, but I don't try to today. Put out, we had done some things. Before we moved to that. Yes.
So when you say nobody bid on it, is that like employees of the library, nobody wanted to act on women's library?
Not the employee,
Oh, the
bringing
people.
in people.
Oh, so nobody in the community wanted to.
No, I mean, it's not like, we had people who thought it was a good idea, but.
Who was it like sent out to? Was it only on bulletin? Or?
Well, I actually, it's a name. We have someone who works on, community, engagement and content.
So, like,
Yes.
So, and I know you guys probably do some of this, but as we move forward, we may wanna look at, organizations that we can partner with as a library, so all the heavy lifting is not on you guys, like, we can just host it and another group can plan it. So, let's do more of that, so like, cause there was a ton of organizations that did stuff during women's history, but we could have just been the location. And they could have did advertising and all that stuff. So I think as we move forward into April and May, let's try to, make some more partnerships and do some of that to free you guys up, but to be able to add it to our program. So, and, I, if you guys need to brainstorm, I'm sure all of us would be happy to, share. So. But I do know Ronnie has been sharing a lot of stuff that other organizations are doing too. So I have seen that on the Facebook page. So
If I look back at my email that I sent you about the roundtable, IE is an example. I gave you an example of the people that might be a part of that. When I made these questions, when I asked for your thoughts. I'm going to that.
So wanted to bring up, library tours.
That was the last thing I had on my list.
Oh, you want to talk about?
I had tours that perhaps be done individually, since everybody has different schedules. So they would have tours, because I think the orientation still kind of COVID really, always introducing it. And then they would perhaps have a list of churches in the library that so everybody would know what you need from them in advance. Two or three people. To the library, it would be two or three. That's something.
We talked about having but I don't know if people say there's work for that. If somebody wants to, I mean, I don't care. It's up to you. But, yeah, it was something that I had planned to do on the orientation day. And I didn't have time to do that. So I put it out there. No more than 3.
So I'm also going to all the list of events that are coming up. The calendar. So I didn't get some families got newsletters, and I never got a library newsletter. And I'm just looking at, I never got one. Yeah, a couple people sent me pictures, but I never got a newsletter. Yes.
photograph. You get some copies and then you have the available. Someone I brought up to me, I was they posted, yeah, but, executive director, and they said that they get in that, like save the dates, doesn't, of all the things that's going on for the month, aside from the newsletter that they do from Bloomfield. And they have on the side of the refrigerator, not just the newsletter, but they have one that shows the calendar for the month. So that's something that could be, you know, I know we have it on the email or something, or they look at the website, they can find it. And just we print it out, we have that available for people, and then send it a copy each month to the board members, so they'll have it. In addition to those copies being available at the front desk and where it wants, which is one of the best. Because I know these sites also bring people back into the village.
Get them to the board and have them available for them.
Yes, just have copies on the counter. Just send an email to all the board members each month that shows the events that are going on.
I make a motion to accept the interim director's report.
Separate. The motion is second. Discussion.
Yes.
Vice Chair, Bridges, Chairperson, Gibson, Trustee Allen, Secretary Legislative, motion carries.
Now, I want to get back to unfinished business. We only got one thing that I understood that we were going to do about the selection of a director, and that is right now that the subcommittee would interview all 4 people. Then what?
You'll have to.
No, we had, no. See, we gave him 2 names to contact to make an appointment for interview. We only gave him 2 names. So one has confirmed, and the other one he hasn't heard from. So we said 4, it's 4 to me until one way or another that whoever did the job. Because so first step we said that the subcommittee would interview whoever's available, for interview we apply. We said 4. But the second step is what?
Did we finish the motion? You did that fast. And then motion back. Then you sort it. And I said, step 2.
What's step 2?
Will initially be. And I want that. I'm sorry.
Anyone? You open it up to the floor, or you just doing 2?
I was going to do step 2. But is there anyone interested in giving us a step 2?
I don't know where I gotta be called over.
Yes.
I think that we need to bring the findings back, because I don't know, with the interviews, are these just initial interviews, or is this a full? No, it's so I think we just bring the findings back into the, well, that would be. If we wait to the next meeting, if we wait to the, well, I guess it won't be. So we bring it back into the next meeting, to the April meeting.
So you can always have a special meeting and come back.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's all going. So the second step would be to vote to have, bring back the finding at a special board meeting for review. Okay, is there a motion for that, or is there a motion for that?
Yes, I make a motion that we bring the findings of the interviews back before the board in a special meeting.
I support that. It's been motion and second. Discussion?
Roll call.
Yes,
Trustee Wexler.
Yes.
Chairperson Wilson. Yes, motion passed. Motion passed, I vote yes.
Step three will be after review of the findings. That during that special meeting, that a decision will be made to determine who will move forward as a final.
I make that
That
motion.
special board meeting, I'm saying here, step three, we would have to have a motion. Step three would be to have during that special board meeting is to review the findings and determine who will move forward as final.
And I said, I make that motion that you just described.
Okay,
Second.
the motion and second, discussion. Let's see.
If we have additional candidates that apply during that time.
They will also have to be interviewed, okay? And between now and the decision for the review, because we haven't come up with a date for review, is to talk about a date for a special meeting. And you can interview those candidates also as part of the final selection. Yes. There is no,
When we posted this, did we put a deadline date? Or did we just have it
it was
open?
open.
Okay.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I suggest we make no more steps until we have a special meeting. To see the necessary thing. I'll make that a motion. Supporting it. What? I'm confused. What motion is on the floor?
For the second.
Huh?
You had a previous motion on the floor, she's asking them to discussion, and then you just made another motion.
I'm sorry.
And what's on the floor was to bring the findings to a special board meeting regarding the interviews from the candidates that we contacted. We voted on that, but the vote is now to bring it to a special board meeting. To bring it to a special board meeting. The motion is second, we have a discussion on it.
So what you need then? Well, I'll call for the question.
Trustee Allen? Yes. Trustee Weatherspoon?
Yes.
Treasurer Hatchett?
Yes.
Chairperson Peterson?
Yes.
Secretary Russell, yes, motion carried, passes.
So we have those two steps. And I would think with those two steps, we come to the special board meeting. Okay, we will call, and we can discuss, reviewing, filling the additional canvases. Whatever. Okay, at this point, board comments. Turn ahead.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it. We had it all set up so that I could participate, and then we found out I couldn't legally do that, anymore, but I was out of town, and, it was brought to my attention. I don't care who did it, if that's not the point. It was brought to my attention that a member of this board wanted to know where were their proclamations as a result of being on this board. And I want to make it clear that a proclamation is given after you have accomplished and done things, not like the election certificate we got. So there was some confusion. After you do stuff, accomplish stuff, then people give you a proclamation to honor you for whatever you want to do. Second thing that I wanted to say is, Edmund, I don't know who gave you your names for the round table for the women, but I know we could have had speakers here, female speakers here, who would have been drawing cards to bring other women in. So if you run into that again, approach one of us, especially the old school people that's been around a long time, and we may know of some recommendations or some people. The third thing, you'll be quiet. The third thing, see, you gonna make me forget. No, don't take part of your time. Yeah, don't. Oh, Lord, I forgot. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. I don't mean to disrespect the chair or any of you, but you're new, even though you had the orientation, and I just want to kind of help you go along in terms of participating on the board. I don't mean to disrespect anybody, but I want you to be able to accomplish what you were trying to do. And give me a little time and I'll get myself under control. Because see, I'm used to just speaking out, being the chair or whatever. But I'm only just trying to help you learn, because some things you only learn as you're going along and you're doing it. Now let me can tell you that's what. So I apologize, I don't mean nothing with anyone. I just want to help you to become the best board member you can become. I'm done.
Comments?
The board gets to make.
Oh, yes. I guess the only comment would be that I do agree with about just the way that sometimes we're taught to. It is not pleasant.
And I do feel like we just need to come to agreement that we respect that individual, as individuals. I also would like to, I really, really, really would like to say that I would like to be on the Friends of the Library Committee. And, because I feel like I have something to offer. I do apologize to everyone and everyone that was not on the election, the selection committee for the library director. I think it was an intentional, and yeah, it wasn't intentional at all. And if you felt that way, then I apologize on behalf of the ones of us that- experience with us all, let's have some respect for one another. And also, I wanted to know if we're able to implement certain programs here. We start that here, or does it upstairs, the program that we want to implement? Do we take it to like the people that, okay, so the young lady that got murdered that day, 7-year-old.
Yes.
I say that we try to implement something in the library as far as gun safety and training. So, gun safety and training. I have a 7-year-old, no, I'm sorry, 9-year-old, but he was introduced to, I have my gun license and I have a gun in the house, so I have a gun safe. However, he's not new to guns. It's not exciting to him at this point. He's introduced to them, he knows what they are, he knows they're for safety, and he can go, recreational shooting, things of that nature. And I think that if we introduce children to those guns and things early, show them how they're used, what they're used for sports and other things, they would be less likely to go out and have shootouts and not know what to do and play with them and then shoot the wrong people. Bullets don't have eyes. But with the right training and proper things like that, I feel like it would help. I don't know if we're able to do that.
Well, there's two things, what I did was I brought it to the director. To implement those kinds of things. When they put up, it's police department, and also an organization. It's not brothers of those things. I thought it's just like inside of, but they are available to come up and work with us. It's all, I think that's what I.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of in different neighborhoods, those kids learn how to shoot early. And competition shooting and things of that nature. When our kids get them to accidentally go off, they pull a trigger, things happen. Things, since we get 3 minutes and these all the time. It says effective library board members work as a team with each member sharing the common concern for the library welfare. Our board members need to express themselves on various issues, but need to avoid making personal remarks. Mutual respect and goodwill go a long way by making your board experience positively. There's a reason why I read that. When I first got on the board, I had a haughty spirit. I experienced things that really came back from that. I had to humble myself and apologize. I disrespected the former chair of that because I didn't know how to come to her and say, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you, and I need you to help. It took us a very long time to reach the place where she can say things to me, and even if I don't agree with her, I lose her respect for her. Even when she doesn't like everything that I say, she understands that my makeup, my DNA, caused me to have passion because I was born, raised, and then died in the city. I took that notion and I went to go talk to chairperson, trustee Witherspoon. And I explained to her very candidly that I made many mistakes because I thought everyone was against me and acquainted for me, and I don't want to make the same mistake with you. And so, because I know that I'm wrong in my shortcomings, we have to work together. And if you allow me to show you what I learned, you won't travel down the road that I have to travel. It was a hard conversation, but it was a necessary conversation because I don't want anyone to fall into the pitfalls of service in this community of being gaslighters. Because once you get that label, no matter how hard you work, it will always label you as that. I did not make the statement tonight about us being Black women to make a sound bite. I did not make the statement about us being Black women because I wanted if I said, ooh, look at what Melanie said, because if I want to do that, I can do it on my Facebook Live, and for those who follow me know that I did. I made that statement because I've had to learn from trial and error about disrespecting my elders. I've had to learn from trial and error about disrespecting Black people. And my passion is clear that we are here to serve because there's some little girl that wants to serve well, and we must make the blueprint. I am asking humbly this time that we stop diminishing, demoralizing, and disrespecting each other. And if I, who has been around the world, who have gold records, can humble myself and say, I apologize, Chairperson, excuse me, Trustee Weatherspoon, forgive me because it was my bad, then anybody can do it. Because if we do not do this, the community is going to say, look at those messy Black women serving. I am 42 years old, and I got 4 years to deal with y'all. And I also serve on city council, and I refuse to live in a moment where 6 Black educated women cannot disagree with respect, cannot talk to people with respect, and cannot be belittled and have to belittle people. I am not better than anyone. And so as I told openly, she didn't know I was gonna say this, but I call a spade a spade. If I can ask for a second chance, why can't you? We understand you have a title, we understand you have a role, but no man and no woman is before the betterment of this world. I implore you to humble your spirits now or deal with the consequences later. I still deal with that one moment that happened 5 years ago. I'm still reprimanded by one moment why I allow my emotions to get the best of me. And no matter how much me and former chair has told the community that we are past it, I am still ridiculed by it. Do not make the same mistakes that I have made. Do not allow anyone to push your buttons to make you get on this vest on this podium and act the fool. Because there are children, seniors, and people watching. And this ain't grandstanding, I'm just grinning. Because I'd rather be real and serve with my whole heart and diligence than fake it for 4 years. I respect you all, I honor you all, and let's work together to make this a better board. And to that I say good night.
Is that everybody?
No, that's her, she got something.
Well, so thank you, Secretary Rutherford, and I echo for the same sentiments. I think that we all bring a plethora of knowledge and experience, and it's at the disposal of the library to be able, so we can use that to make this the place we want it to be. And, you know, I know everybody is committed to that, and I think we can all work together effectively. Right? You know, we had some bumps, and I hope we can get past those. I don't harbor any ill feelings or ill will towards anybody. I just want to get the work done. So we make this library what we want it to be. So to Secretary Rutherford's point, let's just get it done and work together as a team.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I just want to say this. Words say a lot of things. Actions are totally different. There have been a host of things that have been said. There have been a lot of shades that have been thrown. And no matter what one individual says, and I do apologize for perhaps, as my kids say, using my business voice versus trying to be forceful. That's not my intent. I do apologize for that. But at the same time, when you're treated like you're less than human, with the things that you say and the things that you do, the sidebars that you have, the remarks that you make, it's quite difficult to just sit there, sit here, and just kind of just take it all in. Reflections and all of that is all very difficult to do when you're human, and you do the best that you can to serve not only the library, but mankind in general. So when you look at that, and you look at how people treat you and what they say, or the sidebars and the things they say, just in passing or in their comments, which may not be reflective of everyone, everybody may not know that or know the history of it. Then it's difficult to do. So again, my apologies for the tone. It's not intentional, it's certainly not personal, but at the same time, there can be other agendas that are on the table too. So with that, I'd say take care, stay safe. I look forward to making this library a better library. I think we've come so far, and I just think we can go so much farther and do so much more. Not only in the city, in the state. Wanted to know and try to check the email about the conferences that I sent to you. So, if you look at that too.
I make, no, you don't. I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I need seconds. More discussion or discussion? Okay, okay, wait a minute.
What are the on dates for the,
What's that? I just said that's the annual conference.
I mean, is that the only one that they offer, just that one?
They have one in January. I'm sorry.
No, I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Roll call.
Me? Yes.
Trustee Wilson. Yes. Excuse me. Trustee Wilson. Chair. Yes. Yes, Lord. Let me know.
You know what?